everybody. Today I'm going to do a relationship study. I've done character studies and origin stories. Today I want to talk about a relationship in the Night School series. And if you haven't read all the books, this is quite spoilery, so avert your eyes now and don't come back to this video. But if you have read them all, this is about Rachel and Nicole's relationship. I get asked a great deal about the two of them, what their story is and how they got together. If you didn't turn it off when I told you to, now you know. Spoiler! So here we go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about two of my favorite characters. Let's do it. So as those of you know who've read all the books, in the last book of the series, Allie becomes the last person to know, in many ways, that her best friend is in a relationship with another girl, with another young woman. And the characters involved are Rachel, our bookish, clever, wonderful, thoughtful hero girl, and Nicole, the feisty, fighty, marvelous, beautiful French character who we meet in the early books for the first time, who's an old friend of Sylvan's. We don't see it coming in some ways because Allie doesn't see it coming, and the book is entirely told through Allie's perspective. And because she's too distracted by what's happening with Carter and what's happening in her own life at that moment, which is, let's say, there's a lot going on. She's fighting for her life. Her connection with Rachel, in many ways, as her connection with Carter grows, her connection with Rachel has declined. Not completely, no, they're not falling out. They're just each involved with someone else. And that's what often happens, I think, with best friends, is when you and your best friend each get a boyfriend or girlfriend at sort of the same time. Suddenly you see less of each other. And that's why Allie doesn't see it coming. That's why she doesn't realize what's going on. And Rachel doesn't tell her, in part because she is afraid that it will change how Allie sees her. Because until that moment, Allie doesn't know that she's a lesbian. So Allie isn't aware of this really critical part of her best friend's life. And I think Rachel knows Allie well enough to know that she can handle it. Like, she won't mind. She won't, in fact, if anything, she'll love her being happy. That's what will be really the thing. But I wanted to portray something that I saw with a lot of my friends who were LGBTQ, who hesitated to tell people they loved the truth for reasons that were just because of fear, primarily, and because of the unknown. Fear of the unknown more than anything. You trust the people you love, but you also know there's this instability in all of our lives, which is our complete lack of control over how other people react to the things we do and to us. This is a thing that fascinates me all the time. Like, you can do everything right. You can drive brilliantly down a busy road and somebody will still run into you despite you doing everything right, because other people's reactions are uncontrollable and their day is uncontrollable and their histories are things we don't know. And all of that plays into how they will react when we make a big announcement of any sort, and particularly something as deeply personal as who we love. So I wanted to look at this from the perspective of how friends of mine have handled this. That scene, there's a scene with Rachel and Allie where Rachel tells Allie what's going on finally, or Allie figures it out because Katie tells her, and then Allie goes to and confronts Rachel with the "why didn't you tell me?" And Rachel says, "because I was scared." And Allie tells her, "You never have to be afraid, like, to tell me anything. I will always, always love you," is very similar to something that happened to me in my real life with one of my best friends from high school when she told me when we were both 18 that she was a lesbian. And I wanted to write some of that emotion, like my surprise that she was worried was the biggest one. Like, I felt vaguely offended that she thought for a second it would change the way I looked at her. And she was so afraid that it would change the way I looked at her, if you see what I mean. So these two conflicting emotions. And then I felt sad that she'd kept this information to herself because she didn't know that I wouldn't take it well, I guess. Okay, so Nicole is super cool. We all know that. She's from a super rich French family. She and Sylvan grew up as virtually like in each other's pockets. Their families were so close, and it was always expected that the two of them would end up together. Sylvan has known from the very beginning of the series that Nicole would never end up with a boy. Like, that's just not where she's headed. That's not who she likes. But he doesn't tell anybody because they are truly good friends, like old best friends, like brother and sister. He keeps it as her secret as long as she wants it as her secret. I'm not sure she really cares, but I think she likes the enigma of nobody knowing. And there's that scene where Nicole kisses Allie. And I did not know when I wrote that in my mind that Nicole was a lesbian. I wrote that as just, you know, alcohol-fueled hijinks and Nicole being just amazingly cool and doing whatever she wanted. And Allie being completely thrown by it. And that was just a fun scene, but that planted the seeds. And within like a couple of weeks of writing that, I thought, oh, what if I could play with this character? And I should have thought of that from the beginning. And once I did that, then I could retrospectively fill in my mind her history and build that up. So that scene was the seed that planted of Nicole's like sexuality, who she preferred. Rachel, I always wrote her as awkwardly in relationships because in many ways she was always based in some ways on my friend Susie from high school. She kind of looks like her. She's more bookish than her, but her physical attributes are very similar. And like in the back of my mind, that probably was growing into this part of her that even she didn't yet know early in the series, or if she knew, she wasn't admitting to herself, which is that she liked girls. Like this was just in there with just growing because they're young, and these thoughts and deciding where you fit on the spectrum, that sort of thing, is still being determined when you're a teenager, often. In my friends, it often was. So I wanted to give them time to come around, give Rachel needed time to come around to understanding who she really was. Like she was with Lucas, and they had that relationship and just sort of ended, kind of poofed. Like it just fizzled. And I think she wanted to have a boyfriend because she wanted to be part of that world of people who have boyfriends, right? And so thus Lucas. And she liked him. They're good friends. And I've talked before about my belief that sometimes friendship, when, you know, even when you're not that young, but certainly when you're young, can be misconstrued in your heart as more than friendship. And that causes huge confusion. So I think with Lucas, he was amazingly cute. And they were really good friends, and it was really a natural thing for them to find out if they were attracted to each other in that way, and then they decided they weren't. And it was also like calmly done. There was no drama. That seemed to me true to those two characters. They wouldn't have fallen out with big fights. They would just go like, this isn't much, is it? This isn't happening, so let's let that go. And in my mind, somewhere around there, shortly after that breakup, that's when Rachel started admitting to herself or discovering her own feelings. And so I think she had a crush on Nicole for quite a while without telling anybody. And I think Nicole was so sophisticated and savvy that she noticed it maybe even before Rachel did. And she just handled it in like all the stuff we don't see is how she handled that, bringing Rachel to feel comfortable enough with herself to admit sort of who she was. And I don't think it would work at all for Rachel if it wasn't done slowly and beautifully and with patience for her to give her time to come around to her own feelings. And I mean, Nicole also might have just kissed her like she did with Allie. I'm not sure. Because I wasn't there. Allie wasn't there, and I am in Allie's mind. So, yes. So I would say I always knew with Nicole. I figured out with Rachel later in book 2. I kind of began figuring out who Rachel was. About the time probably Rachel was beginning to figure it out. So at the very beginning, I didn't know, at the very beginning of the series, that this was going to happen. It just wanted to be written that way. The characters wanted this. I did not force this. And I think when you read it, like, doesn't it feel really natural when it happens, when the moment comes along and you see the pieces falling into place? To me, it just felt so natural. It felt so right that that was what those characters wanted. And I let them have the relationship they wanted, because everybody deserves to have the relationship they wanted and to be accepted for who they are, and that's who they are, and it's the most beautiful thing. And they're many people's favorite couples in the whole book. They're the one that I probably get as many emails, if not more, about Rachel and Nicole as I do about Allie and Carter Sylvan. And that makes me so happy. Like, that is just a sign to me that that was real, that worked. It wasn't forced. They just wanted that. And then we all gave them that. And I like to think that they were happy and are happy. I don't know though. You'll have to read number 10 to find out if they're still together. They were very young. These relationships, they don't always last. I don't know. You'll have to read the series and then we'll see. Oh God, I just can't wait to write it. I just have to write it. Thank you all for being here and for joining me to talk about one of my favorite couples. I don't want to specify that they're the most amazing couple, but they kind of are, but certainly they're the coolest couple I think that I've ever written. And I hope you liked it, but I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. Tell me what you think. Are they your favorite couple? Is there more you want to know? Is there somebody else you want me to give you some background on? Anybody else's story you'd like me to unveil? And I will read those and make more videos soon. Thank you so much. Oh, subscribe. It's important. I don't know why, but I love you. Mwah. Bye.